Paiute Deadfall. Here's some sign of the eastern cottontail. Bite marks on the cactus. Old cottontails do that. And right below it, the scat. Cottontail scat is similar to deer's, but it's rounded compared to deer's, which is oblong, and it's also a little bit rougher texture. This is also pretty old, but I've seen plenty in the area. Here's a nice little intersection of a lot of trails. We got some falling through there, shared by deer, some cottontail as well. I saw a hog just around the corner, or scat. Cocoa pebbles. Here's a better example of deer. Rabbits is smaller, but appears to be both right in this area. This is another deer. Some dog as well. You can see the paw marks. So yeah, a lot of stuff is coming in this area. You got a trail right there. Oops, trail right there. Trail right there. But this is the one I'm most interested in. See how it's very narrow? At the end there, it's going under some very low brush. Deer aren't gonna do that. So I think this would be a very good spot for the deadfall. With the flat surface going down, make sure it's hitting a level surface that's hard enough to receive it. You want to have the base to be somewhat flat, because when you lift it up, you don't want it to wobble side to side at all. It makes it much harder to set up the trap, so it should lift very smoothly like a hinge. I'm looking for the 4 components of the deadfall. The post, which needs to be dead wood, strong, and forked at the top, about this tall, about the height that the rock will be propped up. Looking for the lever, which needs to kind of have a hooked end or a curve at the end. The overall needs to be longer than the post. And then I need the bait stick, which needs to be thin but strong with a lot of stiffness or spine. And then I need the toggle, small little piece of work for that, and of course cordage. So that's already going to be a pretty good knife. It's a nice big flake there. It'll be a nice little hand axe. But chopper there with a good edge, and several other smaller flakes you can use for cutting. Here's a nice mesquite fork, but it's too dead. I don't want it so dead I can snap it by hand. Here's a good mesquite post. Dead, but not too dead. You want it slightly shorter than the final height of the rock. So the rock will be sitting from around there to around here. Just gnaw away on it like a beaver. And once it's sufficiently the way through, you should be able to break the rest. Yeah. There we go. Be grateful for knives. I sure wish I had one. I can round off the bottom of this by grinding it against the stone. This deadfall stone is pretty convenient the size. You don't quite want it pointed, but you don't want it flat either. I was able to snap the lever stick off the tree. You want something with an angle not as high as 90 degrees, probably like 120 degrees. You size it up. I want the end of this to be level with the bottom of the post, or just a little bit high so it's not on the ground. And this end will be supporting the rock. Probably about that far is as far as I want to go. Make a mark there, right there. Make notches in these and then snap it to size. Now the cordage is going to meet this around right here, so I'm going to cut a little notch in there for the cordage. And then I need my bait stick and toggle. I'll use for a bait stick. Crack this off of a big juniper branch that had fallen. It's gonna run from here to the rock. I wanna start out with longer than I need. If I can. Probably either of these can work. Break off the weakest parts here. I'll wait till I set it up to decide the final length. For the toggle, I can actually just use a piece of this. Now for cordage, you can use the inner bark of mesquite. You want to choose a piece of mesquite that's living, and you don't want to use the too rough parts like that stuff in the background because the outer bark is too thick. So you're gonna have to remove the outer bark too. So you want to make it as long as possible, put a notch at the top. Chose this flint flake because it's got a curved to match the bark. cottontails do love prickly pears, but normally they have to find pads that are low to the ground that are still nice and new. Usually the low ones are kind of old and tough, and then they have to deal with the spines and all that. It piques the interest, and it's nice and sticky, so it should hold on to the bait stick real well. Just don't want to set it off. You can put some extra rabbit scat around to make them feel more secure. So I put a lot of my own scent on this trap already. And here we have our Paiute Deadfall. I have the inner bark of mesquite as cordage. These are both dead mesquite wood. I have a toggle made of juniper and a bait stick made of some juniper wood split off of a fallen tree. I've got the bait, which is the inner part of a prickly pear. I've sprinkled so much of rabbit scat around. So it's a little bit small for a rabbit, honestly, but this is the biggest rock I could find. So hopefully a little bunny two shoes comes hopping through the forest.